Hi, welcome back to the Pit Stop. That's with two T's. I'm Leo Sun.
I'm Stephen Foss.
Last week it was my turn to share something. Now it's Steven's. What do you have for us today?
Oh, thank you, Leo. So, this week we are going to Greensburg, Pennsylvania. We're going to be talking about an abandoned railroad tunnel called Witch's Tunnel.
Oh, okay.
And I just want to say, before we really get into this, that doing research on this topic was absolutely mind-blowingly wild for me. Because I'm really familiar with all of these places that we're going to be talking about.
Okay, I'm excited.
Friends have taken me down there, and I've seen all of this for myself, which it kind of helps whenever I'm doing research for this. So, let's get into it, Leo.
I'm ready.
Alrighty, so Witch's Tunnel is not its name.
Oh.
You already knew this, and I know you knew
did.
this, but for our listeners, Witch's Tunnel is a nickname, and it was given by the locals of the Greensburg area. From my research, I found that it originated in the 70s, but the actual name of the tunnel is Cars Tunnel.
Are there cars that go through the tunnel?
There are not. There was never cars that went through this tunnel, apparently.
Railroad cars.
Yeah, railroad car.
Is it car with one R or two R's?
It's car with two R's.
Okay.
Cars. So I assume it's somebody's name, but I could not find any mention of any man named Carr in my research.
Okay.
So I don't know why it's called Cars Tunnel. This is a mystery. If someone could enlighten me, please do. So the tunnel itself dates back to 1856.
What a year.
A lot of cool stuff happened in that year.
Oh, yeah.
Like at least one thing, because they built a tunnel. But it was built and constructed by the Pennsylvania Railroad, and it was just simply bored through the rock. And then in 1868 to 1869, they built arches, and they brick-lined the inside of the tunnel.
Wait, so they literally just put a hole in the rock?
Big hole through rock, and then they ran rail lines through it, originally. For like the first, 10, 12 years of it existing.
All right.
Just a big old hole in the rock. And then kind of behind it, they really dug out this area. It was a very, very steep cut in the rock. It's pretty wild in person. So I think that the only reason that the tunnel exists is because there was just too much rock to keep cutting it down to make it level. So they were like, screw it. We'll just bore right through the rock.
I mean, at a certain point, it's cheaper to make a hole in the rock than
exactly.
removing it.
Exactly. Right. So I think that the tunnel might not have existed if it was just a little bit flatter.
Well, why did they build a tunnel, Stephen?
Thank you, Leo. We're going right into this. So the tunnel was used as part of the main line for the Pennsylvania Railroad.
Okay.
It was used on the line that connected the towns of Torrance and Pitcairn. I hope I'm saying that right.
Never heard of those towns.
No. They're actually both a half an hour away from here.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you drive by car on 22, they're only 50 minutes apart by modern day standards.
Hold on. What did you say?
By car? No. Are you making a car pun?
No. Wait,
what?
You mean the tunnel car, or is there a town called Car?
No. There's not a town called Car.
Oh, okay.
No. I'm still pretty sure that's a person. But regardless, yeah. So the tunnel was used as a part of the Pennsylvania Railroad main line until 1907, when the current line that is still in operation was opened.
That's a little bit of a different direction, because the main line is east-west. Isn't that tunnel a north-south?
You are correct. Yeah.
That's interesting.
It is interesting. It's different.
Did they used to connect?
I think so.
Oh, wow.
There was so this is a little bit off topic, but there used to be a station that the old line ran under the new line.
Oh.
It was called Donahoe Station.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was like a subway station. It was kind of weird. I've been there.
Because it's a path now, right?
It is, yeah. And there are steps that lead up between the two mainline tracks that would have led down to where the bottom track, the old main line, was.
Okay.
It's a really wild place. I wish I could explain where it is. It's hard to explain things over a podcast, like where they are geographically.
Coordinates.
Right, exactly, I guess. But getting back to the research, the tunnel, just a couple quick facts. It is 825 feet long, and originally 2 tracks ran through it.
That's a very...
I know!
Wide tunnel?
It's a really narrow tunnel.
That's very narrow.
It's weird.
Tracks are wide.
Yeah, you think, right? But somehow they squeezed 2 railroad tracks through the super narrow tunnel. We'll get back to that a little bit later. So, once the main line was changed and it went to the current line, sorry, current line. So after the main line was changed to the line that it is today, the tunnel and the line itself turned to a single track.
That makes
And
sense.
it
Okay.
it does. It makes more sense. And the line mainly supported the mines and the coke towns along the route.
Coke towns.
Yeah,
What is Coke, Stephen?
I think it's coal,
Okay.
right?
Are you
It,
sure it's not like Coca-Cola or
it's
another
well,
substance?
I don't know a lot, but I'm pretty sure it's not that.
Okay.
Again. Okay, so a huge part of the story of the tunnel is the story of the Kearney mine. So I'm going to do a little bit of a deep dive here. The mine was opened in 1881 by the Unity Coal Company, and the coal mine started a mining patch town called Kearney, which is very, very near to the tunnel.
Carney, is that with two R's?
Nope, nope, just one R.
Okay.
Again, I don't understand the correlation,
Okay.
but anyway, the mine became to be known as Kearney Mine just because of the location of the town. Um, and the mine was mining for coal, naturally, and it was mining the upper Freeport seam, which is kind of weird because that seam is only 3.5 feet thick in this area.
That seems like a very bad idea for a mine.
I know. Like, it doesn't make a ton of sense. So I don't think that it made for a very cost-effective mine, but I'll come back to that.
Maybe there's a reason that this railroad line doesn't exist anymore.
Also, I found that due to the area, the mine was super wet down there. And I just have to say, that probably sucked.
I mean, I visited above it before. I've seen it. I haven't gone inside, but from what I remember, it's very damp down there.
Exactly. Right. We don't have any firsthand testimonies of like what it was like to work there, but it
If you
could
know
not have been
someone, let us know.
fun. If you know somebody that worked at Kearney Mine in the late 1800s, please email us at leosunissilly@gmail.com.
No,
All right. We're getting sidetracked. So in 1905, the mine changed owners to the Latrobe-based Connellsville Coal and Coke Company, which I only mention because it's a fun name to say. And then
triple C.
yeah, exactly.
Actually,
And
four C's.
yeah, 4 C's. And then in 1919, it changed owners again to the Inland Coal Company. And this is important because this company is the only one that I found that retained records of the output that the mine
Oh,
created.
really? Okay.
Yeah. So in 1919, the mine produced 20,669 tons of coal.
That's a lot of coal.
Right? That's a ton of coal.
There's a reason that mine stayed there, I guess.
I guess. Yeah.
That
So
seed must have been, bountiful and
yeah,
coal.
if they were making those numbers for almost every year, like in the 40 years that it was running,
And this company took over in 1919.
yeah,
So that's like more than 50 years.
no, 40.
More than 40 years like when they started.
Yeah,
So that's a lot of coal.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. Which makes what happens next really strange because in 1920, the mine was abandoned.
The next year.
The very next year, they completely abandoned the mine.
Oh, why is that?
I don't exactly know. It could have been the poor work conditions. It could have been that they got a smaller than normal return on their investment or something like that. Maybe the company just went under. I could not find a reason.
I mean, I think, they call it the booming 20s, right? Like the market wasn't that right.
Yeah, I mean, we were in the industrial age, and maybe it was like if you're not producing enough, you just get left behind. Again, it's kind of just
They
speculation.
ran out
But
of
what we
water.
do know is that in the 1940s, the area was strip mined by a company called Ida Millers, and that was the last mining operation to happen in this area. At least in the area of Kearney Mine.
So they do coke too before the strip mining company, the inland one?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Because coke is like it's a byproduct of coal. Like it's a different process to make it, from my
Oh,
understanding.
really?
Yeah, like it like I think in the 70s even, like I think it was Australia, they were like using it as like a fuel resource for like heating homes still.
Oh, no kidding.
But people kind of forget like the coke furnaces and all that.
Yeah. Like I know the name, but again, I don't know a ton about coal and coke production.
Right.
So, Leo, thank you for the coke lore.
Okay.
All right. But okay, getting back to the story. The railroad line that went through the tunnel was retired in the 1950s, and sometime soon after it was dismantled. And I found a really cool piece of information while I was doing research.
All right.
A guy on a forum said that he lived near the tunnel, and in 1965 he saw railroad workers removing the rails. Um, he said he was pretty young though, so take that as you will.
I mean,
So,
the rails got taken because there ain't rails
because
there.
there ain't rails there no more. Also, all that metal, it's got to be worth some money. Like, there's a reason why rails to trails exist. They take the rails.
Well, even like rail beds in itself are like they're like technically infrastructure, like
Yeah.
because like I feel like the U.S. was like negligent in like forward planning with railroads like during the 70s, but like a lot of like rail lines were like obviously you have rails to trails, but there are some that the beds still exist like as a path,
Right.
because maybe someday in the future they need to put a rail track back there.
That's fair. I can't really comment on that. I have no
There's like the
opinion.
5-star trail, like
Yeah, 5-star trail in Greensburg.
Right.
I've ridden that. It's cool.
but the tracks are still there
Exactly.
because
yeah.
I think it's still active at one point. Not the near end like South Green.
Okay. Well, I can't comment on this, and it's kind of we're getting away from the story.
Yeah, we're not talking about tunnels. We're talking about trains. Anyways,
Okay, so that's kind of the end. That's the end of the useful story of the tunnel. We're getting down to the bare end of it, actually. So, what happened to everything else? The town of Kearney. You've probably never heard of it, and there's a reason for that. It just straight up disappeared.
really,
Yeah. The area that it was in is now located in the what's the word I'm looking for? Neighborhood.
neighborhood.
The neighborhood of East High Acres.
Oh, that's funny because the tunnel's still there. Though.
Yeah, the tunnel is still there. The tunnel is in the neighborhood
it's like
of
a
East High
ravine.
Acres.
Like
Yeah.
there's all these just like large houses,
They're really expensive houses too.
and you just walk down across the street and you can just see the tunnel.
And there's just a tunnel down in the woods. If you just walk down the rail bed,
right.
there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. The mine site, it actually still exists. There are some remnants of a mine being there, but it's almost completely unrecognizable.
Okay.
It's in complete ruins. But the tunnel is still standing strong, it's 155 years old.
That's
Like
pretty
the
old
arches themselves are 155.
Whoever
The
built
tunnel
that
is older, and it still looks amazing.
You went through that, didn't you?
Yeah. I have. Funny story. First time I saw the tunnel, we were riding go-karts down there.
I've only seen the above of it, like one end. So
Yeah. Yeah. We were on the east side of it. We never were able to get over to the west side because it's really marshy over there.
it just I look down there and it's very wet. Like
It's super wet.
I
It's
can't imagine
super
how
steep.
damp it is in the tunnel.
Exactly. Yeah. It's flooded. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that makes
I thought you meant the mine for a second. It had to be damp in the mine too. But again, getting back to the thing, I have a couple of other spooky tales about the tunnel that I'd like to share with you.
Are there any witches involved?
We'll get to that. So, this is a bit more sober, so treat this with respect. 7 people are documented to have died in the tunnel. Because of its being so narrow with the 2 tracks, being caught in the tunnel with 2 trains in there was basically a death sentence. Because again, the tunnel was over 800 feet long, so you can't outrun the trains if you're like towards the center.
Right.
And this is a tunnel that was active for years upon years, so accidents happened.
Were they doing maintenance in the tunnels or just walking through?
I'm pretty sure almost all of these were just people walking through, just trying to get to either Kearney or Donahoe.
Okay.
So let's go through them real quick because I did document them. In 1894, 3 unnamed Hungarian men were killed whenever they jumped out of the way of a freight train and they were hit from behind by a passenger train coming from the opposite direction.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, very, very sad. In 1900, a man named John Downing was hit by a speeding train in the tunnel and died instantly. And in 1905, 3 men were caught with 2 trains in the tunnel at once. They were Italian immigrants named Antonio Morelli, Pietro Martini, and Albert Piechnark. 2 were killed on impact, and the 3rd died of his injuries soon after. 3 fatalities were also recorded in Kearney Mine. There were probably more. We just don't have record of them. And the tunnel's nickname might have come from ghost stories of men who died in this area.
That makes sense. I don't see the correlation between witches and.
Well, the same guy on the forum said that at one point, the railbed was still there and you could kind of like drive through it. What people would sometimes do is they'd load a bunch of people up in a pickup truck and they'd drive through the tunnel telling ghost stories, like real slowly, to kind of like spook them around like Halloween.
That's
apparently that is something that actually they did. Yeah.
I mean, I wonder if it's also like the wind going through it because it's a long
Maybe.
tunnel. I could maybe hear like a cackle out of that. I don't know.
I've never heard it personally.
I feel like you know.
Could we do an episode of Unearthing the Unknown on this? Matt Boyer's giving me a look. Okay, one final funny story. In 1911, somebody detonated a stick of dynamite on the pipe that pumps water out of the mine. The explosion didn't do much damage, and the pipe was easily repaired. But it's thought that somebody tried to sabotage the mine, and to this day, we have no idea who it was.
You think it was like a planned like organization or just a single guy contempt for
Maybe
working?
it was just a dude who got screwed over by the company. Or it was Mr. Carr, who was mad that they named a tunnel after it. Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, I feel like Carr and Carney sound very similar.
They do, but I'm pretty sure there's no correlation.
Oh, okay.
Again, it's kind of speculative. Oof, I'm having trouble talking today. But okay. So where does that leave us today? The tunnel is now just a fun urban exploring location that has a cool history behind it. For the rowdier bunch, apparently it's a good party spot. I am not condoning that. Be smart.
I don't think it'd be a good party spot because it's just very damp.
It's super wet down there. Yeah. I don't understand. Apparently people have done it.
Maybe like when it's drier, I could understand it. But even then,
when I've never seen it dry down.
That's a problem.
And if you're a gearhead like your boy, you could ride a go-kart down there. Oh, the guy on the forum, he said that he used to rip his dirt bike through the tunnel. So I'm not the only one. I trespass, but I'm not alone in this.
I feel like considering that like it's a rail bed, like you probably could get a lot of distance riding just like wherever the heck it ends and begins.
In theory, yeah, but
unless people built stuff.
People have built stuff. Though.
Okay.
That's the thing. So if you want to go see the Witch's Tunnel, because there's really not much harm out there, so long as you're smart and you wear some good boots. It's just a short hike into the woods.
Into the thick of it?
No comments. And it's in East High Acres. I wish I could give an exact location, but just look it up on Google and you can find it pretty easily.
Yeah, because it's obvious where the rail bed was too.
Yeah, it's really obvious where it is. It's just there's trees around it, and it's really easy to find. Just follow the road.
And there's like the neighborhood that it's like by. You could just drive along, park alongside, just look from above down into it.
It's true. You can. Yeah, it's really easy to get out there. There's really no harm in seeing it.
Yeah.
People don't mind, and it's actually kind of cool. I mean, once you know the history of it, it's like whoa. It's also kind of cool in person because you're like, how on earth did they fit 2 railroad lines through this tunnel?
It's very thin.
It's so narrow.
Wait, the old picture, I've seen it, like, when it was, like, in operation. It's just crazy how, like, high those walls were.
I know. It's crazy.
It looks very same. It's funny. When I saw that tunnel, I was helping someone landscape their, like, house.
Oh, really?
And they just threw branches down that road. That's nice. How they got rid of it.
Nice.
So, yeah, I don't think people really mind people visiting.
Yeah, no. But I think this is going to bring us to the end of today's episode. So if you do go see Witch's Tunnel, go have fun. Please be courteous of the property and be mindful of the people who died in this location. But yeah, go have some fun and enjoy yourself and be responsible. Call your mom.
Okay.
All right, maybe I'm asking a little bit too much, but that's going to be it for this episode. Any final remarks, Leo?
Yeah, be careful. Like, yeah, call your mother, tell her how great it was, I guess. Appreciate the architecture. I mean, it doesn't hurt to check out the Under the Rail Pass Part 2 where that station used to be.
Oh, yeah, Donahoe Station?
Yeah.
It's actually right off of Donahoe Road.
I wonder why it's named that.
Where that part where it, like, dips and then goes back down.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's right off to the right there.
Well, yeah.
Good luck finding it, you urban explorers. All right. Thank you for running with the call your mother bit. Let's end this before we
talk about Mother's Day. I don't know.
Indeed, yeah. All right, so thank you guys so much for listening. Tune in next week to The Pit Stop. That's with 2 T's. I'm Stephen Foss.
And I'm Leo Sun.
Catch you guys next time.
Hey there, listeners. I'm Matt Boyer, station manager of WSVC Radio. If you like what you're listening to, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and hit that bell button to be notified with all of our newest updates. Every day, one of our shows is releasing a new episode. Stick around and stay tuned.